Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of the Navigating the Motherhood podcast. And this episode's a first for me because we're recording during the day. Because obviously normally I work, so I record in the evening, which means that my normal podcast wine has been replaced by a cup of tea. But I think that's probably only fair given that my guest is pregnant and probably couldn't drink along with me even if she wanted to. So my guest this week is Katie, and we are blowing the lid off of all of our unpopular mum opinions and talking about yours. But Katie, do you want to introduce yourself to the podcast?
Yeah, so hey, I'm Katie. I'm 26 years old. I live with my partner Kane, our son Buddy, and 3 cats by the sea, and we're expecting baby number 2. And I said 3 then. We're expecting him very, very shortly. And yeah, I think I'm pretty funny, and I hope people like the episode today.
And if you hear other strange noises, it will be Katie's cat trying to get into the summer house where she's sitting.
Yeah,
Climbing on the roof.
He's literally on the roof now trying to get in through the window, even though there's a cat flap there, but
I love it. I feel like Rupert especially is like Insta famous, so he can always
he definitely is. Yeah, he's a firm favourite with his resting bitch faces and everything that he gives me.
I love it. So we're talking about unpopular parenting opinions, and I've said it on Instagram and I'll say it as a caveat at the beginning of this episode. We are not here to shame anybody's decisions or anything like that because everybody's completely different. This is just stuff that winds us up or that we don't agree with, but just aren't our style or our personal opinion. So I'm going to start. So we've picked a few each and then we're going to go through because so many people sent theirs in and there's some really good ones in there. And also, interestingly, some people have sent in the opposite to some of the stuff that we're going to be talking about, which is quite funny. So I'm going to start. And my first one is probably the most controversial one. Maybe not. I really get wound up when people call their kids their best friend. So when people are like, I'm hanging out with my best friend today, and I'm a bit like, no, like I feel like it sounds really ridiculous and I don't know why it bugs me, but it really does. And I think it's because I hope Sky's going to grow up and have great friends. And my role in life isn't to be her friend, it's to be her parent. And that means, like, I feel like when you're somebody's friend, you're sort of probably always nice to them and like, which makes me sound like I'm an absolute bitch. Not, but like being a parent is the good bit and the bad bit. And I feel like people who are like, my kid's my best friend, it's like, it can't always be the good bit. At some point, you're going to have to be bad cop. And I think if you go into these things being mates, that's going to be difficult. I don't know. What's your thoughts?
So I'm actually on the fence about this, which is like a first for me. I don't really sit on the fence very often. Like I can see both sides of the argument because like when you've got like children like sort of Buddy and Sky's age, then yeah, I like totally agree. Like how can you be my best mate? Like Buddy can't even talk yet. I'm just like, how can I have a conversation with you? How can I moan about your dad to you? I can't. Do you know what I mean? Like I can't like let loose or anything like that. But like sort of as they get older, I do think it is possible because like me and my dad, like he was my dad, but he was my best friend as well. Like my dad, like I would just talk to my dad about everything and anything. But then we also had that level, like when he was older, when I was older, we had that sort of, we recognised the boundary. So sort of right, okay, I'm parent, your daughter. Here we're friends, but first and foremost we are father and daughter sort of thing. So I can kind of see both arguments. Maybe sort of like as the child gets older, then it can be different. But I'm so guilty of being like, oh, here's my best buddy and all this lot. But I think it's just because of his name more than anything.
I was going to say, I was like, you gave into their name. But I actually totally agree with you. I think and I obviously have never had this because obviously both my parents aren't around, but I'd like to think, and I see it with like even my mother-in-law, my sisters-in-law, like they are friends. And I think when you're older, it's different. I think it's when people say it about things like their newborn baby. And I'm like, I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah.
But like, the only time a friend should be throwing up on you is in a nightclub, not like, do you know that? You're just like, and it kind of like, I'm like, no. And like, you have to discipline them. Like last time, I mean, saying that I have some friends, I feel like I have to discipline sometimes and tell them. But like, I just like when you're kind of forming the beginning of their life, I feel like you have to play bad cop. And I also think it comes from this, I've seen mother-daughter relationships in my life where it's been very codependent and when they've grown up, the daughter hasn't done things or like moved away or done many things because they don't want to leave their mum behind because they worry about it. And I don't want that for Sky. Like, I never want me to be an excuse for her not doing something she wants or reaching her potential. Or like, if she wants to live abroad, I want her to be able to do that. And it'll be hard and it'll be tough. But like, I feel like my whole thing is bringing her up to be independent. I feel like my job as a parent, and this is where everybody's opinions are differently, but like, some people will want that super close family thing where everybody lives around the corner from one another and they're all together. I'm like, if Sky wants that, great, but I also want to set her up in life. I mean, I'm pretty sure a therapist would tell me, because my mum died when I was younger, I'm very much like, I want to set you up so you'll be fine on your own and you'll be okay and you can be independent and make all your decisions. And I don't think calling her my best mate on Instagram would ever stop that. But I feel like for me, it's probably part of a bigger thing. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I get you. Yeah, I get you. Like, yeah, definitely. Like, when people are like, the newborn is the best friend, I'm just like, all they do is sleep, cry, wee and poo and sick and drink milk. Like,
they can't talk to you. Like, I quite like have conversations with my friends.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have like many friends, but I'm just sort of like, I'd much rather have a conversation with them any day. Like, a glass of wine, glass of gin, you name it. I can't do that with a newborn, can I?
Well, I mean, you could have probably more with a newborn than you can right now, but given you're not allowed.
That is true. That's the problem.
But yeah, I know what you mean. But that's my first one. So what's your first one?
So mine is screen time / TV time. So I am very much sort of, I will do anything for an easy life. And our house is very noisy. So to me, having no screen time, like no TV on in the background, no background noise, no music, nothing, that's very alien to me. But I don't know, it's because I've always been around noise growing up and stuff. I use my hands a lot when I'm explaining things. I'm just like this, having a little rave.
I love it.
Yes. So to me, like, if getting you through the day, especially in the last year, like, we've had such a rough year, like everyone. So if by having that TV on, sticking on a bit of Disney Plus, sticking on all the Disney films or whatever, gets you through your day, then do it, go for it. And also, like, I kind of think it's a bit, if you can sort of say hands down that you don't let your child have any screen time, TV time, then I feel like it comes from a place of privilege. And sometimes also can be quite ableist to assume that just because your child is on an iPad or watching something on TV, that you're a bad parent and stuff, and that's all you do with them, because you don't know, like, if that child has like any disabilities, and you know, if that the noises of the TV and stuff can be a sensory, like a coping mechanism. Like my brother, because my brother's autistic, he when you can you remember the PSPs? The like PlayStation Portable.
Yeah.
Well, when they came out, honestly, it was a game changer for my brother, and he could happily go out in public and sort of go around the supermarkets and stuff, and he'd have his PSP, and he'd be buzzing, it'd be fine. And so sort of like, it was like his coping mechanism, because it was able to distract him from all the noises and things like that. So this is a bit of a ramble, but yeah. But yeah.
No, I totally get it, and I'm with you, and I'm totally with you. Like, I feel like part of the issue even is calling it screen time. The fact that it's got that weird title, and like that to me almost makes it worse. It's like been branded this demon thing, and it's so funny because, like, I've said this so many times, I wish Sky watched TV more, because Sky's super.
Yeah, I remember you saying.
She's not. I mean, independent play is just not a thing for her. Like, she loves playing with us. And there's times where I'm like, I just wish there was something like, all I want is for her to be obsessed with Frozen or Moana or Toy Story or something that move it on to do other stuff, because it is literally impossible. If I'm by myself with Sky, it's impossible for me to do anything. And now I'm trying to get her involved more, which sort of helps, but like, she has to help with putting a load of washing on. She has to help with every single meal. She has to help with everything. And I'm like, I just wish I could shove the TV on and you'd watch it for 20 minutes and I could just run around and get stuff done. But she literally, like, there's not many things. we've now found Super Simple Songs, which, by the way, if everybody watches Coco Melon and hates it, Super Simple Songs is like a nicer version of Coco Melon that's not as annoying. And she loves that. So, like, that's perfect. Somebody actually sent in one of their opinions about kids on iPads in restaurants. Now, they did say in brackets as a first resort, which I get. Like, whenever it feels like a long time ago, but when we've taken Sky out to eat, we'll always tend to take like her Magna Doodle thing and like colouring pens and all of that kind of stuff. But Sky is also a super active kid. Like, literally, the kid will not sit still. Like, not even for like cuddles. She'll like literally cuddle you as she's trying to wrestle you, and then she'll roll on the floor and run away. Like, right? Will not sit still for like any length of time. So a restaurant is a no-go. And eating out was a big thing for me and John before Sky came along that we didn't want to give up. So if it's a case of, we'll try colouring and we'll try a couple of other bits and pieces, but then if we give her phone and she can play games on it and it means that we can eat in a restaurant, I'm going to do it.
Yeah,
but I do feel like judged.
Yeah, I remember sort of I can't remember like which time, because like we used to go out pre-COVID, and sort of when the restrictions started to ease, like we did sort of, just to support local businesses and stuff like that, we did sort of like started going out to eat again. And also because Buddy doesn't have like any interaction because he's not a nursery or anything, like I wanted him to have like the social settings, I guess. And sometimes like, so we'd play with him and stuff like that, keep him entertained until the meal comes. And then when the meal comes, if he was getting a bit restless, if it took a while to come, then just stick on YouTube, stick on Little Baby Bum, because that like zones him. I don't know what it is about that and Coco Milan and all that love, but it just zones him out. And then it means that we can enjoy our meal in peace. He will eat all his food, like regardless. And we all go out happy. Buddy's happy. Me and Kane are happy. So I'm just like, why does it matter? Like, why do people care so much? Like, how other people choose to do something? Like, back in the, like, obviously I know back in the day they didn't have technology. So it's like, oh, well, we didn't have technology back in the day. And it's like, but we live in a digital era. Like, you can't avoid it. So why try and keep your child away from it? Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. But it's also like, I think the thing that baffles me is
Next is just like trying to get in now as well.
I feel you, and it just feels like, I don't know, like I shouldn't feel ashamed by it, but like anytime I put something up about Sky playing a game on her iPad or watching something on TV, I always still feel like I have to justify it because there's people out there that are like, well, she shouldn't be doing this or she shouldn't be doing that, and it's like, especially when Sky doesn't watch a huge amount of TV because not much interests her. If it's not Dougie, if it's not T and Mo, or now Pip and Posy because she's got the books and she's realised it's a cartoon, which she stands there holding the book. Like, oh my God, it's on the telly. She's just not that interested. Like, she'll watch like 5 minutes at most, but then wants to be doing she always has to be doing something else. She'll never just like I know people whose kids are Sky's age who will sit and watch the entirety of Toy Story and not move.
Oh my God, I wish that was the case. I wish that was a thing.
I said, and people are like, well, surely it's a good thing she doesn't want to watch TV. I was like, I get that, and it is. But God, what I'd give for an hour and 40, especially when they don't nap. I don't know how I'm going to cope with Sky doesn't nap, because literally my house is going to be a cesspit, because I'm never going to get the time to do anything.
Honestly, because Buddy stopped napping sort of August time last year, so he sort of dropped naps quite quickly, and you just sort of just have to roll with it. But there's some days I'm just like, please, will you just like cave and just go for a nap so I can just get something done? Because like, to be fair, like, because of how our like house is like planned out, it's open plan, so it's sort of easier to sort of get stuff done. So I can go into the kitchen and get tea done, and I can leave Boy to play because I can still see him, like quite clearly see him. But some days I'm just like, he just wants every box of toys out, he wants everything out, and he just wants to throw everything, and I'm just like, this is pure chaos right now, what am I going to do? And I'm literally just there like, oh my God, because I hate mess, and I know that like, so like this is probably like another controversial opinion, like people on about show homes for children, like your house doesn't look like it's lived in and stuff, like why would you want that? But like I hate mess. I'm like, right, Buddy, you can have 2 boxes out and then that's it. And if you want to get all the boxes out, then put them away, because I am so clumsy. I will go ass over tit, and just the mess, it just stresses me out so much and I can't deal with it. But I've gone on a proper tangent here.
Sky's going through. No, but it's good. We're lucky because Sky's going through a stage where she's like, because we do the toy rotation thing, and there's only like 6 or 7 toys at a time. She like gets them out, but then she's also learned now because we're like, okay, well you put that away and you get the next one off the shelf. So she now like you finish puzzles and she'll go away now, and she'll make you open the box and she'll put them away, and I'm like, oh
yeah.
I mean, I realise this is going to last like 20 minutes, but I hope she continues. But nursery do it a lot as well. Like I spoke to our nursery and they're like, oh no, we always use, like yesterday they were playing with shaving foam and writing in it. Which I'm so glad they do that in nursery, because I'm with you. I'm like, I was the worst mum. I did no messy play. See these people that set up all these tough tray things. No, not for me. I cannot be arsed to I can't do it for 5 minutes and then me have to tidy it up. Like I cannot be bothered. About as adventurous as you get is kinetic sand and Play-Doh, but she's only allowed one colour at a time.
Yeah. That's literally me as well. I'm like, right, you can have either the red, the blue, or the yellow, and that's that. And then Kane comes in, oh, here you go, mix them all up, and I'm just there like, literally, I'm like glaring at Kane through gritted teeth, like, what have you just done? And I get so angry.
I throw it away in my new ones. That's how bad I am. Like I can't, like my best mate in Scotland, she's really, really like calm about stuff, and she sends me pictures. Like I sent her Play-Doh up to her little girl, and she sent me a picture of it all merged together. I was like, you're trying to kill me here. I was like, what are you doing? She was like, yeah, no, I was like, what do you do with it now? She's like, I just put it back in the pot. We play with it all mixed up next time. I'm like, no, I'd throw it away and buy new stuff. That's bad, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. I'm the same. I just hate stuff that when it starts to look a bit tatty or ratty or whatever, I'm just like, right, if you can go to charity, you can go to charity. If not, then see ya. You're at my house. I can't.
Especially when toys get broken and stuff like that. Oh no.
Yeah, I'm like sweating at the thought of it.
That's what I've been doing this week. I've been clearing out so much stuff. It's been like, I swear, it's been like cathartic. Everyone's like, have you enjoyed your relaxing week off? I'm like, yeah, I've got rid of so much shit in my house. It's great.
Yeah. That's been the one good thing about lockdown. I've like literally got everything out, and I'm just like, right, all this stuff that we don't use, all these toys that Buddy doesn't play with, if we can't use it for baby, then let's just donate it somewhere. Obviously, and like our shed and garage is just full of like stuff, because obviously places aren't open at the moment to collect. Yeah. So obviously we're quite lucky that we've got somewhere we can stock. So if it was still in the house, I think I would just lose my marbles. I'd lose my rag.
One of the things I loved about the first lockdown is in my village anyway, because my village is like a commuter village to London. Like there's a lot of young families here, and what was great is everybody was clearing out and putting boxes of free stuff outside their house. Nice. The amount of toys that we got free from just walking around the village, people were like, putting this out my house at 10 o'clock, and I was like, right, let's go. Like, and getting like puzzles and books and stuff. And we did the same though, and it's great because then at least it was, especially at that time when everybody was like, how are we going to do this parenting thing in this lockdown? It felt like everybody was each other out. It was quite nice. Community.
Oh yeah, that is nice. I wish we had stuff like that. Like my neighbours, like I don't think they like me, so like no one talks towards or anything. So it's just
I'm really lucky. Especially my neighbour. I'm like pointing as if people know my neighbour, but she's an absolute gem, and she's a little girl who's just literally last week just turned 1. So she gets quite a lot of nice bits, and like she's super lovely. Anyway, I'm going to go into my next rant, shall we call it? And my next unpopular opinion is, particularly in the world of social media, mum personas. And I think I mentioned this when I think it's probably the very first episode when I chatted to Abby, but it feels like everybody is expected to fit into persona. So you've got like the I need wine, I need alcohol to get through the parenting journey, mum. Then you've got Pinterest, like setting up all these lovely playthings, mum. Then you've got like hot mess mum, who like goes over the top to talk about what a chaos everything is. And then you've got sort of like super organized mum. And then you've got, I don't know, they're just like, but first coffee mum, or like caffeine is the thing mum. And I feel like I'm saying this as an unpopular opinion, and I repost like quotes and things that probably don't help. So I'm, it's an unpopular opinion, but I'm fully admitting that I probably don't help matters. And it hit me the other day where somebody was like, well, you're an honest parenting Instagrammer. And I'm like, but I'm not just that. And we were having a conversation before we started recording. I was like, sometimes I feel then, because I have always spoken about when it's hard, at the moment just now, when it's good, and Sky is currently, I mean, she sleeps through the night, she eats really, really well, she very rarely throws tantrums because she started talking, so we can like explain stuff to her. So she's actually at the minute a gem. And I never feel like I can talk about it because people are like, well, you were honest parenting, and now you're just like, hey, isn't everything great? I'm like, but maybe it is great. Like, I feel
like you could share both.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like with all of these personas online, you feel like you have to fit into one, and then you're kind of stuck in like a niche, or like you're labeled with something that you're like, but I'm not I've never said I said I wanted to be a Pinterest mum, but I'm not. So then if I do ever set up playthings for her, I'm like, oh, well, I'm not going to talk about it because I'm not that kind of mum.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like being a mum is being a massive mix of both, and being like, I can be not caffeine mum because I don't drink caffeine, but like I can be 6 of those on any given day. I can be hot mess mum, and then the afternoon's great, and then I want wine at the end. Like, I can be more than one.
Yeah, I totally get what you mean. I totally agree. Like, just because like I said, like when people said about you with the honest parenting, so it's just like, so what? So yeah, I've shared the lows of motherhood, and you've always been very sort of open about that. But sort of like, then are you not allowed to talk about when Sky's being good? Is that just forbidden now? Like, even though it's like your socials, you should be able to like say what you want and talk about what you want without sort of having to think, oh God, but then what's X, Y, and Z from, I don't know, from Cornwall going to think about me? Do you know what I mean? It's just, but yeah, I'm in total agreement with you. Like, why do we have to give ourselves a persona? The Pinterest mum is probably my biggest pet peeve. Like, you know, when it's like the all arty farty, airy fairy sort of, what is it, like your edits and stuff like that. Like, yeah, it's pretty, but you've just made your child stand there for about half an hour just to get that perfect shot. And do you know what I mean? I just can't. I like
where's the plastic?
Yeah, give me the plastic. Like, don't get me wrong, I love wooden toys, and I think they're very I can't say the word aesthetical. Aesthetic. That's the one. I can't, honestly. I can't. I can't get my words out sometimes. But I'm just sort of like, I don't know what it is with children, but you just can't beat a plastic toy. Like, toot drivers and everything. They're all over in our house. You can't.
Toot cars, yeah. Whew. And the tracks are massive and they're hideous. But
yeah,
if they mean, like, I made a joke on Twitter once, and people were like, you should totally do this. I was like, I'm going to start rating toys by how far through a cup of tea I can get before I get interrupted.
Yeah.
And like, this is a solid quarters of a warm cup of tea kind of toy versus like I've had 2 sips and the kid is bored. Do you know what I mean? And like, there's a mix. And do I buy wooden toys for Sky? Yes. And I follow some really amazing, like, where I feel like it's a really good balance, because loads of people were like to me like, oh, you're going to start doing Montessori stuff. And I'm like, I do toy rotation. Like, and this again where it's like, but I'm not that bucket. I'm not a Montessori mum. Like, I do toy rotation because it suits us, and I've taken that aspect of it, and I've taken other aspects of it, like the helper thing in the kitchen, where like Sky can help out, but like I'm not fully in it because there's elements of it I don't agree with. Like, it talks about like no imaginative play until they're 3. I'm like, part of the joy of having kids is watching their imaginations, and little things like you shouldn't give, and it's ironic because like you shouldn't give your kids colouring books, right? This is a Montessori thing. You shouldn't give your kids colouring books because
I've seen that.
It doesn't open up their imagination, right? Ironically, Sky doesn't like colouring books. She actually prefers blank paper, which is fine, but it's not been like a Montessori choice because we do toy rotation. And my toy rotation, like, if you looked at it now, it's full of plastic. There's a whole cube that's dedicated to Playmobil because she loves it. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, well, you know, it's like it's all in balance. And I feel like that's the thing. It feels like it should be more balanced. Like, you can be multiple parents in any one go. And also, like, this is the other thing. Like, you might be one way with Buddy, but I guess when the second baby comes along, if they're a different baby and a different personality, then you are a slightly different mum for them because their needs are different, right?
That's exactly. Like I'm the same as you. Like, I take like some bits of like Montessori. Like, I take some parts of that, but I'm just sort of, I'm very much of a person that will just go with the flow. So I will just gauge the day on how Buddy is. like, but then also to a point, I'm sort of like, no, I need to get shit done today. So we're just cracking on. If you're going to be whingy, you're going to be whingy. I'm just going to crack on with it.
You're going to get the TV. Yeah, that's it. And that's when it's the, here's all the plastic toys that make noise and keep you entertained, and here's the telly and crack on.
Yeah, literally, I'm just like, right, I need to clean today. I need to do this. I need to get some work done. So you're going to do that. I'm going to do this, and we're just gonna crack on with it because, and like, he hates being in his pram at the moment. So it's very much but he's very independent. So sort of, if we put him in the pram straight away, he'll be like, get me out of this. I'm going to kick and scream. I'm going to break everything in my pram. And I'll just be walking on the street with him having a tantrum. I'm like, you know, I can't be bothered. I can't be bothered with you kicking off. So we're going to walk here, and you're going to be in your pram. And then when we get to the said location, like the park or whatever, then you can get out, because we've got like, whilst we're not on like loads of like busy roads, but then we've got to cross busy roads to get there. And sometimes I can't fit behind the wheel depending on how big I feel that day. So I'm like, so you're gonna do as I say because I am your mum, and then as soon as we get to the park, then you can run right. You can do what the hell you want. I don't care. Like, I just feel I don't know what I'm trying to say now. But yeah, I just feel like people feel like they have to have an image, especially if you are on social media, especially if you are sort of blogger, mummer, all that kind of thing. Like that, this like the don't get me started on this whole
every terrible fake fucking course that they sell you, the first thing they try and is like, it's because you need a niche, and you're like, but then you're pigeonholing people's personalities, and it fucks me off because you can't be pigeonholed. Like, I was saying to someone the other day, like, somebody said to me the other day, they're like, oh no, I did a takeover of like a mum Instagram thing, but just for fun because I was not working, and they were like, one, I get so much more gypped now I don't show Sky's face. And they were like, well, how can you be a mum if you don't show her face? And also, if you look at your feed, you don't post mum content. And I was like, well, I post myself, and I am a mum. Vis-a-vis, it probably technically classifies as mum content because I'm talking about me and I am a mum. But actually, also, being a mum is maybe one of the least interesting things about me. Do you know what I mean? It's like, and this sort of segues into another bugbear. It's not my third one, but a bugbear of the fact that when people talk about their kids being their whole world, and like, I love Sky to death and I would do everything for her, but there's so many more elements to me than being a mum. I have hobbies, I have my career, I have friends, I love traveling. Like, I've been amazing places. I've worked for really cool companies. I've kissed David Walliams on stage at the Palladium as part of one of my jobs. There are so many more things about me that are cooler and more fun and more interesting than the fact that I wipe someone's ass. Do you know what I mean? Like, and it's and I feel pigeonholed.
I know what you mean. Yeah, I don't like that, and I don't like how people sort of try and give you an image like this, like the whole mama bear. Like, oh, I got you, mama. I hear you, mama. I see you, mama. I feel. I'm just like, puke, 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 puke. Stop. Go. It stresses me out.
Yeah, I get what you mean. Like, this, fair enough, is showing solidarity, but like, for me, solidarity is going, yeah, my kid can be a dick too. It doesn't have to be you guys. Like, it can be like a kind of, like, for me, the biggest thing that I try and do with friends now, particularly friends who are new parents, is say, do you want to talk about it? As opposed to like, you got this, or it'll be fine. Or it's the one that used to fuck me off the most is, it's a phase. That does not help me when I am in hell. Like, it does not help me.
Yeah, like, if that's not going to help me get through this day, I don't want to freaking hear it. I'm the exact same.
Anyway, your turn next.
Okay, so my next one is people. I guess we've kind of already like kind of touched on it, but like, when people talk about textbook, their child, like they want the perfect textbook child and stuff like that. So, like, I think it's fine to read the book so you're informed and you've got a rough idea of what to expect. But I feel like some people, like, I've been guilty of this. Like, especially with like milestones with Buddy's speech stuff, because he's not really talking. Like, he says like a couple words, but he's not talking. Like, he doesn't string sentences together or anything like that. We have been in touch with the health visitor, and we get like speech therapy and stuff like that. But Buddy was always sort of ahead of himself with stuff. So he was crawling at 4 months, he was walking at 9 months. So he's always been sort of way ahead of himself. So when he wasn't talking, then I saw other people talking, like their children were talking online. So I was like, what have I done wrong? Have I done something wrong? Is it me? Have I broken him essentially? And it just sort of, and I suppose you'll probably feel this as well, like with Sky being premature and stuff, like you get yourself into like this headspace and you're just like, what am I doing wrong? And I think it can really like not damage you. I guess it can sort of damage you mentally because you sort of get into your head that you're the problem, that it's all your fault. And
Yeah.
I feel like there's just so much pressure with having textbook children and the milestones and stuff that we just need to sort of just remember that our child, they're all individuals and they're all going to do things in their own time. Like I don't think there's anything, like I said, I don't think there's anything wrong with like reading books so that like you have like a rough idea of what to expect. But I can guarantee there is not a single textbook baby, child, teenager in this world because everybody does their own thing.
No.
So, but yeah, that's mine.
I remember I was that. But I will put my hand up. I was that person that when I was pregnant, I was like reading all the books, right?
Yeah.
And I read them all. And then Sky arrived early, and so like all the research I'd done on breastfeeding, right? There's a great example. All the research I'd done about breastfeeding on demand was pointless because Sky was tube fed and had to be fed on schedule. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, and I found that reading the books and being like, well, this is how it's supposed to go, threw me off. And I feel like it wasn't until I was like, I just have to ignore those, that then my mum instinct allowed to kick in. And like, I feel you with the milestone thing. Like, I remember Buddy walking and me thinking like, Sky can't even sit up.
Yeah.
Flipping heck. Like, but it's so funny though, because now Sky's talking a bit. I mean, let's be honest here. A lot of the words we know, like I used to think it was magic how parents could understand their kids because I'd hear them talk and be like, I've got no idea what they just said. I get it now.
Yeah.
But it's funny because I'm then very aware of like, I guess it goes back to the thing I spoke about before about sharing things, because I would never want. So, like, here's a prime example. Sky can now count to 10, right? So she's got this, like, counting puzzle, and she can point at it and count to 10. Do I think she realised she's counting to 10? No. Is she doing it, like, because she's heard us do it, and she can, like, copy? Probably. Now, I got a video of that, and I was like, oh, I'll share it. And then I thought, I don't really need to share that, because I bet you that will make somebody feel shitty. Because I know when I see other people's kids do amazing things, I've gone, my kid can't do that.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, I'm sort of the same. Like I don't really share much about Buddy online anymore. Like I think sort of at the same time, me and you sort of both took Sky and Buddy's face offline and sort of like changed up things with that. And I'm always sort of mindful of like of how I can make other people feel. And I'm just sort of like, I don't want to feel like I'm being a braggy twat because Buddy, like, because he was like, I'd literally, everyone was just sort of like, oh, he'll sleep all the time, he'll do this. And then when he was crawling at 4 months, I was like, what the hell have I got here? I was like, have I got like this robot child? I was like, what is happening? So from the get go, like Buddy's always been sort of very different, and he's never been very textbooky, like ever. Like he's never done anything when he was supposed to, and I'm using the quotation marks like that.
Yeah.
Like he's never done stuff when he should have done it. So I'm just sort of like, so if anything, it's just sort of taught me like more as a parent to be more open to other people's experiences and stuff like that. Like when you said about Sky being tube fed, Buddy was like, he was tube fed for like the first sort of week or so. So it's just sort of like they don't tell you all about these things in the books and stuff like that. Like it's very much breast, or formula if you have to. If you really, really have to, here's some fun, which is a whole other gate.
A whole other thing.
Yeah, but like people, like there's just, I feel like there's more awareness now. Like they're starting to get more awareness now, but like people just assume that when you give birth, it's going to be hypnobirth, it's going to be water birth, it's going to be fantastic and amazing and oh so wonderful. When in actual fact, like everything can change at the drop of a hat, and there's never any sort of thing in the books that say, but you could have a really traumatic birth, or you could have this, that, and the other. You could have an emergency C-section. Like there's no one tells you. And then when it happens to you, like with Buddy, like my pregnancy was fine with Buddy. Yeah, and it was just sort of like everything just throws you off, and you're just like, well, what the hell is it? Me? Have I done something wrong? And then it just gets you into a really shitty place, and that's why I feel like the whole textbook thing and the milestone thing, like milestones are obviously they're handy to have as like a rough guide. So sort of like for development and stuff like that, because everyone saw like, oh well, by the age of 2 they should be able to say like 50 to 200 words or whatever. I'm probably being a bit dramatic there with the 200 word thing. I can't remember what it is exactly, but it also sort of it just makes the parent feel really shit if their child's not doing that. And obviously, I understand why they have to do it for development needs and just so that like the help visitors and all that can assess and get you the correct help, and get the process started. But also, I feel like we all obsess over it, and I'm guilty of obsessing over it. Like I remember like crying to Kane, being like, "Why isn't our son talking?" and this and another. But then, like Kane said, like he's had a year of not seeing anybody, so he's probably not going to talk as fast as other children who go to nursery. Because that was like our choice not to send him to nursery, because I was like at home and everything like that. So that was our choice. And like, you know, when you just sort of kick yourself and like, is it because of me that he's not doing stuff? And it just gets you into a really, really shitty place. And
well, I remember, so I have a friend locally whose little girl is pretty much bang on 6 months older than Sky. And I remember when she got through the you know, when they're first year checking that like checklist thing to go through, like, can they do this? Can you do this? Sit with them and go through all of these things.
Yeah, we had to do that.
So she got it when Sky was only 6 months old. I remember she sent me screenshots of it because I was like, well, what does it kind of ask? I became obsessed. I became obsessed with trying to get Sky to do all of these things way before she was then supposed to. And, you know, and then when you actually get the thing and you read it, it's like they shouldn't really be able to do all of this. It's to try and gauge. But it became like an obsessive thing for me because I was so terrified of Sky being behind because she was preemie, which, as you say, I then felt like was my fault because my body had let her down. So like I had to do everything I could to try and get her to where she needed to be.
Yeah, it's really, it gets you into such a dark place on it. Like, yeah, it's just, yeah.
Yeah,
it's not nice. Sorry, Karen.
It's not good. But yeah, I feel like I'm with you. I feel like, and that's why, like, obviously I talk about the fact that we're not sure if we'll ever have another one, but if we ever did, I'd be looking forward to it in the aspect that I'd like to be so much more relaxed and just take it as it comes the second time round, because the first time round I was really hard on myself a lot because of it.
Yeah, I can sort of remember sort of when I first started following you, I can remember sort of seeing your stories and stuff and like saying about it all. And I was just sort of like, yes, I literally know what you mean, like, because it's just sort of like when they're sort of saying, oh yeah, everything's going great, this is a textbook pregnancy, and then when it's just like literally like the rug's there and it's just like yoink, and then you're just like, oh well, what the hell do I do now? And it does, like we said already, like you do get like really upset about it, and you do sort of think, is it what I've done? When like now looking back, like me and you both know that it's not really anything that we could have done differently to prevent what happened to Buddy and Sky. It just really, really upsets me. Like more so, especially for like new parents now and stuff, like how they all sort of feel like they've got to do certain things and have certain things and stuff like that. Whereas like it's just sort of like, yeah, just
they'll survive, and that's it. And it's like oh, I was so bad. Like the amount of like toys I'd see, and people were like, "This has helped my kid count or crawl or do anything," and I'd be like, "I have to buy it now. I have to buy it now because otherwise, Sky's like, you know, I'm not giving her the best chance in life and all of that kind of crap." And then the more that I realised that actually what she needed was, one, a mum who wasn't sitting on her phone all the time trying to scream out for help, which is what I was doing. Why I ended up talking on Instagram stories one day, and we've ended up with a podcast, is because I was sitting there because I wanted to cry out for help. I wanted somebody to tell me it was okay, or somebody to say, no, I've been through it and it will be fine, because nobody else was giving that to me. And what she actually needed was what I do now, which is why I'm much, especially on weekends, not really around very much on social media, which is I shove my phone under a cushion and I sit for half an hour and play puzzles with her, and that is way more than anything else. Do you know what I mean? Like that's what's gonna.
Yeah.
And it made me think. I remember like nursery when Sky was going back to nursery after COVID, and they were like, "Well, what development stuff do we need her to work on?" And I And normally I'd have sat there and gone, she's not doing this and she's not doing this. And I think other people's kids are doing this. And I just sat there and I said, I just want to know if she makes friends. And the woman smiled.
Yeah.
One of the only parents. And I was like, like, I think I remember seeing a meme or like a story, something about a teacher put up, and she was like, the parents that I know have got their priorities in order, not the parents that come into parents' evening and ask about the academic stuff. It's do they get on with other kids? Do they participate in class? Do they feel confident to speak up? And that for me is 10 times more important. It took me a long time to get here, and I'm a much calmer, better mum for it. But that's the stuff now that matters to me more than is she saying 300 words? I don't know. And half the words she said, the kid calls caterpillars Atticas. Now, who knows where that came from? But hey, if it works for you, kid, it works.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, no, that's nice that like that, because I'm sort of saying, like, obviously because Buddy hasn't had any social interaction. Like, I don't know what he's going to be like with other children, because he will be going to preschool sort of in September time, like when I start back, when I start working again and stuff like that. So he will be going to preschool then, and I've been really worried, but obviously because now we're allowed to meet up with like one other person, and children don't count in that rule at the moment. So, and because he's got a cousin who's like 3 weeks younger than him. And I was just like, oh my God, please be nice to him. Please be nice to him. Like, let's just get on. But he's so confident, which maybe that's just because I'm quite a confident, bubbly person. Like, Kane's definitely like the introvert, and I'm the sort of the more outgoing sort of one. And Buddy was like taking his hand and like leading him off to the swings and stuff, and like hugging him and kissing him, and I'm just like, that is so sweet, and it massively put my mind at rest. I was like, oh my God, thank God, because that was my biggest worry, like not whether he could talk and tell, like if he can talk by September and he can tell like his preschool I don't know if they're called teachers or like I don't know what they call them.
Nurses or key workers, no idea.
No, but yeah, so like I didn't know if he'd be able to tell them what, because like when he sort of communicates with me and Kane, like we know exactly what he wants and stuff like that. Like you just know, don't you? Like you said, and I wasn't
weird
about that. It's really weird. But that was my biggest worry. Like, how is he going to be with other children, especially because he hasn't seen his cousins properly for months and months. God. I can't remember the last time we was all together, and obviously since then, like they've all changed so much, and they're all and so that was like a big sigh of relief, big weight off my shoulders, and I was like, oh my God, thank the Lord that I don't. That's the one thing I don't have to worry about. That I know that Buddy will be okay when he goes into the social settings of a preschool or around other children. So it's nice.
You'll love it.
You don't have to sort of, I hope so.
So we're now going to get onto other people's controversial opinions, which is good. There's some good ones in here. I feel like we've both slightly touched on this one, which will just be a simple yes, we agree. It fed is best is a wank statement. Direct quote. Fed is the bare minimum. Boobies and formula are great, but the statement needs to be get in the bin. It makes me furious. I get that.
I literally don't care if your child is boob, express, formula, bottle, as long as your child is looked after, happy, fed, and the parents are happy. Like I don't care. Like I feel like
carry on.
Sorry, you go. Oh no, I was going to say, like, I had a very sort of difficult journey. Like, obviously, I expressed and was told by the breastfeeding support team at the hospital, whilst Buddy was in like NICU, like if you don't give your child your breast milk, he will never get poorly. He will never come home. But if you do feed him your breast milk, he will be home within a day or two. His pneumonia will be gone. His suspected sepsis will be gone. Like you'll be good. So I got that into my head, and then I got into my head that when we came home, that if I didn't continue to express and give him my booby milk, that he will go straight back into hospital. And I was literally pumping constantly, and I was in such a dark place with it. And Kane sort of had recognised, because I'd just lost my dad and stuff at that point, so I wasn't in a good place anyway. But I was proper rock bottom. Like I remember my health visitor came, and I was just crying, like manically crying on her. And Kane sort of recognised all these things he does, and he was like, he was like, look, just stop doing that. You're not a bad mum if you stop giving him your boob milk. You're not a bad mum. Like, just do what works for us as a family unit at this moment in time. And as soon as we tried Buddy, we tried combination feeding for a while, and we noticed that Buddy in general was just so much happier. I was a lot happier, and so was Kane. Like, we was all just like more of a family unit when he was on the formula. So I was like, right, let's just cut it out, get the cabbage leaves on the tits and everything like that. Yeah, and it was so simple and straightforward.
I was with you. I expressed for 3 months.
Yeah, I think I was about the 3 months mark, and I was just sort of like, I just don't understand why people have to make such a big deal about it. Like, if you're breastfeeding, good on you. Whatever. Why does it matter? Like, stresses me out.
I feel like I get like, it's one of those situations, and I have a similar thing about the words body positivity. I get the intention of the statement, but surely the end goal is to have no statement.
Yeah.
Because it shouldn't be talked about. It shouldn't even be a thing that's in conversation. You shouldn't need a statement to make the conversation better. There just should be no conversation.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. Like,
that's kind of where my head's at.
Yeah, who cares? Like, as long as you're all happy and it's best for you as your family, then why does it matter? I mean, like, I am leaking milk constantly at the moment, and it's doing my head in because I've like got nipple pads on and everything like that, and I'm just all like, oh my god, like, can we not do this already? And I still don't really know what we're going to do when this baby comes. Like, I don't know if I'm going to try a couple expressing and see how I feel, just because, like, I don't know. Buddy, obviously, he was tube fed, sorry. So, like, we didn't do any of the latching stuff or anything like that. And then when they tried, he wouldn't latch. So,
yeah, just sort of I'm with you. I feel like the second time round, it's almost like if I didn't have a preemie baby, now I'm 80% more likely to have one, so it's likely. But if I didn't, I genuinely don't think I'd know what to do with a regular newborn, because I've done it such a different way before. I'm just like, feeding on demand, like, what is that? Like, I've never done it. It's weird.
Yeah, and that's just it just stresses me out, just the whole thing. And like, I want Kane to be involved, and Kane wants to be involved. So if he wants to give him a bottle or whatever, then I'll be like, yeah, okay, here's some booby milk or whatever. But we don't even know what we're literally so much more laid back with it all the time. We're just going to see what happens, see how things go. Probably are going to lean more towards formula, just because that worked better for us as a family, and just going off from what Buddy was like, he was just so much happier. So done him no harm. So, but yeah, exactly. Just crack on, whip your tits out. Don't whip your tits out. I don't care.
I love that. I feel like that should be a statement, mum or not, just in regular life. Yeah. Can you imagine? Somebody said advice shouldn't be given unless it's asked for. I like that.
Yeah.
I am.
That's a good one.
All about that. And tied into this is something else that really pisses me off, which is what I used to call mum scaremongering. So like, if you think this is hard, wait till they do this.
Oh my god, I hate that.
Wait till they're walking, wait till they're moving, wait till potty training, and you're just like, oh, fuck off.
Literally. I just want to punch people. Like, I want to punch people when they say, like, through my phone, like, pow, pow, because it stresses me out, like, especially because, like, I've got another one on the way. I get, wait till you have 2 of them, wait till you do this, wait till they do it, and I'm like, how about you just shut the fuck up and let me crack on with it? Just shut up.
When there's 2 of them, yes, it will probably be whatever you're saying, but I want to that's for me to decide. I don't know what it is. It's like, I just don't understand this. And it's even before you get kids. When you get pregnant, it's all of a sudden like everyone's like, you'll never sleep again. Your life is over. Like, enjoy going to Christmas because it'll never happen again. And it's like, literally, I don't understand why everybody's like, well, being a mum is the best job in the world. Well, then why are you scaring me about it at every given opportunity? Like, I don't get it.
And it's just sort of like, wait till you give birth and you've torn from your ass to your fanny and all. And I'm just like, do you know what? Like, if that happens, then it happens. But if it doesn't happen, then that's great. Like, stop trying to petrify me into thinking I'm going to have the worst experience ever. Like, I was just sort of like, I had it so much with Buddy, and I've had it so much this time, like, you'll never sleep again. You'll wait till this happens, or wait till that happens. And I'm sort of like, well, bring it on. I'm ready for it.
I feel like it's really hard because I also then watched I was watching a YouTuber that's had a baby, right? They're not British, they're from America. And I was watching it, and she was like, why does nobody warn you? Like, this is the hard, like, this is ridiculously hard. Like, why does nobody warn you? Why does everybody portray it as this really great, happy, amazing, serene thing? And I'm like, it feels like, so like, it then also feels like you can't win, right? Because then if you're really honest
Yeah.
with somebody about it, you're scaremongering them, which I get. But then if you don't say anything to them, are people then sitting out there going, what the fuck? Why didn't you warn me? Like, do you know what I mean? And it's like, I feel like you can't win, which is where this thing that this person said, which is give advice if it's asked for, I think comes in, because it should be like do you want me to tell you my experience of what it was like for me? And then they've got the choice of saying yes or no. And then you're not scaremongering because you can be like, mine was very different. Like, this is my experience. But I feel like it's even just caveating it with that would make everything better. Like, if somebody said to you, like, oh, do you want to hear my experience of going from 1 to 2? You can either be like, no, I want to go into it completely blind. That's my decision. Or you could be like, yeah, actually, what did you think? How did you experience it? Like, good or bad? And then it's your choice. But at the minute, it doesn't feel like it's your choice very often, which is ridiculous.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Like, if you ask for it, if you ask for the advice, or if you're talking to your friends and just be like, oh, so, like, for example, with sleeping or with weaning or whatever, like, what did you do, this, that, and the other, then that's fine. But, like, sort of, the scaremongering people, like, oh, yeah, my child choked straight away and that was it and he went blue in the face. And I'm sort of like, if I haven't asked for it, don't tell me about it, because I'm the sort of person that will obsess over that and be like,
yeah,
that biscuit out the I'm like, no, you're not having that.
Choking's my biggest fear in life. Like, anyone around choking. I saw somebody choke. It sounds really grim. I saw somebody choke and die in a restaurant when I was like 6. So choking to me is like the biggest fear of my entire life. Like, I can't even watch people choke on TV. Like, I can't do it. Like, whoa, it genuinely terrifies me. So like, when people kept talking about that in, like, I remember we had to do health and we had to do a first aid course before we were allowed home with Sky from the hospital. There was a whole section of choking. And I literally was like sat there and the woman was like, are you okay? And I was like, I have a really bad phobia of choking. I'm really sorry. I still to this day get scared sometimes when Sky's eating something. Like, John will give her like raw apple and it's cut the way that it should be and all of that kind of stuff. And I literally will say to her, if I have to go to the toilet, I will call him down from upstairs to sit with her because I'm too terrified of leaving her because it scares the shit out of me.
Yeah, that and grapes. Grapes terrify me. Like, I will slice grapes up into eighths if I have to. And
the one at the minute is mini eggs. Like, people give their kids mini eggs. Oh god, no, it scares the shit out of me.
Yeah, if I'm eating a pack of mini eggs because I'm all about dairy milk chocolate at the moment, I will literally bite off the tiniest chunk for Buddy as if I'm feeding like a bloody bird. Bite it off and give him that bit that I've bitten off, because I'm just sort of like, no, it just. Oh my god! And Smarties and jelly to all things like that. I'm just like, oh my god, no! I'm so terrified. Like,
yeah, I'm with you.
Yes, this scaremongering thing. I'm in agreement with that. Yeah.
I don't like. Somebody said, and I feel this in my soul. I don't like playing. It's boring and repetitive.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I feel that in my soul. I mean, I buy new toys, and 9 times out of 10 they're not from Sky. It's because I'm so pig shit bored of playing with the old ones. That's why I'm more excited to get imaginative play now. They're a bit older.
Yeah,
that feels like it could be fun.
Yeah, but he has a kitchen. Like, he'll sometimes try and give me like some of the food that's off his kitchen. But he's very much sort of, he's quite happy just to play on his own. So I'm quite lucky in that respect. Like, he's very independent with playing. So sometimes, like, I find that if I go and play with him, or if Kane goes and play with him, it's just like, get away from me, bugger off, let me crack on and play by myself. So like, when we go and play with him, like, Buddy sort of doesn't like it, but I find playing kind of boring anyway, because I'm just like, oh look, choo-choo train, here's Thomas, the cheeky blue tank engine, and here's Gordon, and honestly, like, please don't let Sky get.
You feel a bit like a div, right? You feel like a div. You feel like, even like, sometimes I swear even Sky's looked at me and been like, no, Mum.
Yeah.
No.
And I'm just like, choo-choo.
I'll set up these elaborative things. I'll set up like this elaborative play thing, or like when I did like an ocean theme thing, and she was just like, I'm not interested in
this. I remember I set up tracks and everything for Buddy, and I'll get involved for a bit, and then he'll just sort of, you can tell when Buddy's had enough of me being around him, because he'll just pick his toys up and just take them off into the conservatory, and I'm just like, great, now I'm stuck on the floor, thanks, son. But yeah, but like, sometimes I just feel like, I don't know, I just feel sometimes awkward playing with them. I'm just sort of like, yay, choo choo train. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, I just feel a bit awkward.
Yeah, see, I feel like I don't feel like I feel awkward, but I feel like I feel like I'm jealous of you. Like I wish Sky would play in her own, but she doesn't. So like it's constantly like she's obsessed with jigsaw puzzles at the minute, right? So she's got like 4 jigsaw puzzles, right? So I've done these 4 jigsaw puzzles. I mean, we must be on like 200 times each. And there's only so much enthusiasm you can show for doing the same fucking jigsaw puzzles over and over and over again. You're just like, do you want to do meerkat? Like, and it's like she's got this pack of 4 jigsaw puzzles, and there's dolphins, meerkats, elephant, and penguins, right? And it's even to the fact that she's got to do them in a particular order. So she's got to do the dolphins first, then the elephant, then the meerkats, then the penguins, and it's just like, oh man, you're killing me here, kid. This is bulk. And I've definitely found that the harder parts of lockdown is the fact that it's so boring sometimes because you can't you can't break it up with a day out. Like, I don't think I'd find playing as boring if in the evenings when she gets home from nursery, she's home for like an hour before it's bedtime, like then it's fine. But once it gets to like 3 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon, I'm a bit like, I am done with this now.
Yeah, I'm the same. I'm just like, oh, leave me alone. Like, if it, like, sometimes, like, he will have, like, a clingy day where he sort of wants me and Kane sort of to be there more and sort of play with him, which is, it's rare when it happens, but when it happens, I'm just sort of like, I'm not used to this because normally, like, he's just like, no, I'm done with you now, see ya. So when he wants us there, I'm just like, oh my god, what's happening? But yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a cat on the roof.
Yeah, so I'm in agreement with that one. The next one is my kid's cry makes my blood pressure go up instead of making me cutesy and sympathetic. And this one made me laugh. One, because I'm good friends with the mum who sent this one in. But 2, I feel I do understand this, and I feel like this situation. So if Sky falls and hurts herself and cries, different ball game. Like, come to mummy, have all the cuddles, like you'll be all right. But if she's crying or whinging or like tantruming or whatever, is there anybody that's then like, oh my love? Like, I'm just like, oh kid, quit it. Just shh.
Yeah.
It does make my blood pressure go up too.
Yeah, I'm the same. Like when it's the fake annoying cry, oh, it's just like being whingy. I'm just like, oh, do you know what? It's going through me. Just give over. But like if Buddy's like genuinely like if Sky like when she hurts herself, like it's different. Like that cry is different. But when it's just sort of just doing it because they're having a tantrum or they can't get their own way or yeah, they're just doing it just for the sake of it. I'm just like, no, do you know what? It goes through me, especially like when Buddy does his fake cry where he puts his hands over his eyes and throws his head back and he's going, oh. I'm just like, shut up, I can't. Stop.
No,
like I love you. I love you. Stop. Yeah.
That's just a motto in mum life in general. I love you. Stop. Just stop. Oh god. The next one says putting turbans on baby girls is cultural appropriation and really inappropriate, which I agree with, and I will put my hands up and say I think I probably did this when Sky was little and didn't think, and now I've done lots of like educating of myself and all of that kind of stuff. I realise how bad that is, but yeah, I get it.
Yeah,
I think that's bad too.
Yeah, I'm in total agreement. Obviously, I've never. Well, I know like people like they tend to put the girls in in like the turban and stuff. Obviously, like I've got boys, so I've never really done that. But yeah, every time I sort of see a picture, I'm just sort of like,
well, it does make you just go like,
yeah, I'm just like, oh, don't do that. But yeah, it's like you said, like you educate yourself, don't you? So
yeah, and that's it. Like, I'm not, and I feel like it's not as simple and clear cut as if you've done it, then you're a terrible human being. I think it's a case of stepping back and going, yeah, that's probably not very sensible, and I wouldn't be doing it this time, for example.
Yeah, I mean, our parents have probably done stuff in the past, and then they've like looked back in hindsight and been like, "Yeah, that is really, really bad. We shouldn't have done that sort of thing."
Yeah.
And
live and learn, live and learn.
Yeah, definitely.
Here's a really good, juicy, controversial one. You ready? Too many wannabe influencers use their children inappropriately for brand deals.
Oh my god! Yes. I hate how many people use their children as cash cows. Just stop.
But it's also like the thing that really pissed me off recently is how many of these influencers were the people that also took their kids offline when everything kicked off and then realised actually to get money or to get likes or to get followers, you have to shove their kids' faces back online again. I feel like I bring this up all the time, but it really bugs me.
Yeah, that really pisses me off. It's just sort of like they did it when it was not a thing. I guess it kind of was a thing, like because so many people sort of did it around about the same. Yeah, because so many people did it around about the same time. So then when everyone sort of stuck to the guns, like me and you were stuck to our guns, and like because I've been sort of thinking about doing it for a while anyway before everything had sort of come out, and I think you said the same as well. And then when it was sort of like, oh well, that trend's over. I'm still relevant, so let's whip our child's face back on. And I'm just sort of like, it terrifies me. And another thing as well, like when people put their children naked online, I can't.
Yeah. It's one of those things that, like, if you are doing this as a job, right? And something comes along and it's a good fit. So, like, people off the top of my head, when they've done stuff with their kid, like brand things with their kids, then I think, yeah, I get that and I support that. And 9 times out of 10, end up buying it. Alice Spake, perfect example. Yasmin, perfect example.
Yeah.
Like, it fits in with their content and what they're doing. It's when every single post is their kid holding something and it's just like,
yeah.
You and also, like, my question is some of the money that kid, because that kid is then earning that money, not you, because they're the one that's in the post or whatever. Like, is that money going into a bank account for them? I bet it is not.
Yeah, I'm in total agreement. Like, I'm very, very good friends with. Well, I hope she like listens to this. She's like, yeah, well, we are good friends. Otherwise, this will be awkward. But I'm like really good friends with Alice, and I feel like Alice has got it. Like, she's cracked her content. Like, she shows Jay when she wants to, but she never shows his face. She's obviously very respectful of him, and obviously I know like Alice's sort of views on it all. And then she's got the perfect sort of lifestyle stuff, the baking stuff, which just makes me want to eat everything and drive to Southampton and just eat everything.
Yum.
But yeah, like she's sort of I feel like she's got the balance that just right, and she's very respectful of her child's boundaries, and that's the sort of thing that
I remember when
like
she did paid stuff. She did paid stuff with Orchard Toys, and I was like, yes, that's like, it just was perfect, and it just goes to show that there's a great way of doing it. So then when you get the people that just wheel their kids out for everything, it's just like, I don't know, it just feels really disingenuous, I think. And like, but it's so funny because I've had so many people message me like, why don't you do brand stuff? And I got contacted about 2 months ago by Gray's Snacks. And we're like, can you do something with your kid? And I was like, no. Like, I could have done it, but I didn't want to. It just, I think, I don't know, maybe I could be incorrect, but I feel like it would have felt false, or, do you know what I mean? Like, and it just feels like there's people that say yes to anything, and that's maybe where my issue comes more than anything.
Yeah, I feel like there's definitely a few people that will literally just jump on any sort of bandwagon, any PR opportunity, any paid opportunity, even, they'll just jump on it and be like, oh yeah, so this is what we're going to do today. And then I feel like I don't like how people drag the kids through that as well. Do you know what I mean? Like just if it's not going to be natural, then don't do it. And again, that's where I feel like Alice really nails it, because everything just seems so much more natural. Like when they go down to the shores and stuff with Jay in the morning and things, I'm sort of like, I'm gonna cry because that's so freaking cute.
It shows that there's a right way to do it, and it's got to be, I don't know, it's just going to be part of with a whole bunch of other stuff. I feel like it's when it's done. And I'm never saying, like, if you want to do brand deals with your kids, never do them. I'm not saying that. But there's got to be a balance. And I think it's people that don't have the balance that's the problem.
Yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, it's definitely a balance thing.
This was going to be one of mine. And then somebody put it in, sleep training. Now, it's like one of the most, I've never had more diverse, like, great, really great, give me all the advice versus that I think you're a terrible parent messages on social media, like I did when I did sleep training with Sky. And so many people, I remember somebody messaging me saying, you do realise you're going to fuck her up for life. And I
my God.
And I said, do you know what will fuck her up for life more? A mum that has a mental breakdown because she's not had sleep. I was like, I remember it'd been 16 months. I was back at work. So I was also then trying to adjust to working and having Sky being in nursery. And she was awake like 2 to 3 times in the middle of the night. I also have insomnia. So I was getting about 3 hours sleep a night because it takes me like an hour, if not longer, to go to sleep. And I was like, and I remember people were like, you know, if she has to cry, like, and we never did like full cry out. She was never left to cry out for like an hour. It was like 10 minutes at the most. And I'm also like, to me, that's going to fuck her up less than me being, and I was horrible. I was crabby. I had zero patience. I shouted. I was a horrible mum when I had no sleep.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, what's going to fuck her up more? Long term, me being a crabby, awful cow, or teaching her how to self-settle herself to go to sleep.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, because I was sort of like, I think at the start, when, obviously, because we used to, like, Buddy, thankfully, he's always been very good with his sleep. Like, from 4 weeks old, he was sleeping from 7 till 7 and stuff like that. So he was very, very lucky. But then we had them, I never know whether to fully trust them or not, but you know, like the sleep regressions and stuff like that. Like, I never really know if that's a thing. But, like, if Buddy wasn't sleeping, then it was hard. Like, it was either 0 or 100 with Buddy. Like, it was never sort of in the middle. And I just sort of remember, like, people being like, oh, try sleep training. And I'd be like, no, I can't, because Buddy would get himself in such a state where he would then be sick, even if we were to leave the room for 2 minutes and just sort of like let him cry and try and settle himself. So I'd be sort of like, no, I can't do that. How can people do this to their child? And then, like, the more I thought about it, I was just sort of like, no, like, he needs to learn, because, like, as much as I love him, like, I can't be the good parent that I want to be to him. Like I said, with Sky, like you're just crabby, you're just miserable, and you're just sad, and you can't be the parent you want to be to them if you're not in the right headspace yourself. And then so we just ended up sort of just cracking on, and I remember not putting anything online about it in the end. Like, there was times when we'd have to like rock Buddy to sleep and stuff like that. And I do feel like sleep training, I feel like people just hear the word sleep training and cry out and think, that's cruel, you're a terrible person. But they don't actually understand the person as to why they're doing it. And the crying out thing, like, you're not leaving him for, like I said, you're not leaving him for an hour to cry. You're leaving him for just a couple minutes. You sat outside the door. And if that's what works for you, then that's fine. And if you're a parent that wants to rock your child to sleep until the age of 25, then that's up to you. Do you know what I mean? Like,
and that's the thing. And it's like, I feel like people, I was painted to be this cold person by some kids. It's like, there was a stage about 3 weeks, no, God, it was longer than 3 weeks ago, like a month and a half ago, where Sky suddenly, I don't know whether it was her teeth or she started getting night terrors and she was a bit scared to go to sleep. And I cuddled her to sleep a couple of times, and it was fine.
We spoke about it.
Yeah, she was like, just went through a stage of wanting to sleep. Now, Sky's never co-slept. I don't know whether it's from being in NICU and being in like a cot and being on her own a lot when she was tiny. Sky has never co-slept. I've always been like, I quite like, come to bed and have a wee cuddle with me. Absolutely not. Kid wants her own space to sleep. She's a bit like me. Fine. Totally okay.
Yeah,
if you want to sleep, crack on. But Sky wants her own space. So this was really rare. So in a weird way, I was a bit like, I feel like sometimes these cuddles are slightly more for me than they are for you. But Sky's probably similar with Buddy. Like, I didn't mind rocking her to sleep because she never cuddles me, because she never sits fucking still. So actually, it was quite nice.
Yeah, like, yeah, I totally get that.
But yeah, I remember just being painted as this awful person, and what people didn't realise is they're like, I can't leave them to cry out. It's just not for me. And I was like, it was for 8 minutes. I think we had to do like 5 or 10 minutes. And then you'd go in the room and you'd never leave the room. I never would like walk out and leave her crying. Like, that's the thing, it's not how it was done. But people don't know the ins and outs. They just hear it and they think it's cruel. And I had a mum message me the other day, and she was like, 18 months, 16 months. It was the same age as we did it with Sky. It was literally this time last year we sleep trained Sky. And she was like, I'm broken. I don't know what to do. Like, I don't know what to do. I don't want to get sleep training. I don't want to admit defeat. And I remember feeling the exact same way. I genuinely felt like by saying I need to sleep train my kid, I was fully admitting I was the worst mum in the world because I couldn't get my child to sleep properly and I failed. And it's just so not the case. And I remember it was people like Abby who'd done it and that introduced me to Katie at Slumber Tots. And she was like, I did it.
Yeah.
It's changed our lives. Like, and I still say to this day, from a parenting point of view, despite all the ridiculous amount, I don't even want to know how much money I spent on Amazon and toys, that money I spent on sleep training is the best money I've ever invested in anything as a parent, for sure.
Yeah, I can imagine. And like I don't know about you, but I'm the parent that will do anything for an easier life. So if that makes my life a hell of a lot easier, then go for it. Especially as well, like, because as soon as bedtime comes, 7 o'clock, like that's the one thing that we're very strict on is bedtime. So 7 o'clock on the dot, Buddy's upstairs, he's in bed, and that's it. That's mine and Kane's time to sort of be together, and even if it just sit there on the Xbox playing Red Dead Redemption at the minute, like that's our time. Honestly, we've just restarted it again, so we're doing the storyline again and everything. But yeah, like that's our time, and if that time's getting consumed by Buddy, who we've just been with all day, like it's just so overwhelming, and you don't get that time just to be you and just enjoy each other's company, and like I feel like that can have like a massive impact on your relationship as well. Like if you're with your partner and stuff like, or your husband or whatever, like it just everything just sort of follows on from each other. And yeah, I'm in total agreement with you. At first,
easier. Everything's infinitely easier when you've had sleep.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I agree. Like I was very sort of at first when I was one of them parents, like when they saw about sleep training, I was like, oh no, that sounds so awful. But then sort of when I actually became a parent, I was like, yeah, no, crack on, do that. If that's what works for you and your family, and if that means that your child then sleeps through and is perfect at sleeping or whatever, then fine. Like, why does it matter? Like, why do people care so much like about what someone else chooses to do with their child? Like, it's not like they're abusing them, is it? Like, let's. Yeah.
Well, yeah, exactly. It's like that's why I think I said something the other day. I was like, unless you're abusing your kid, as far as I'm concerned, there's nothing you can do that I would think makes you a bad parent. You do you. Like, I really couldn't. I've got too much other stuff going on. I don't have time to. Right, the last two are light-hearted ones. So next one is CBB's bedtime story is fucking creepy as hell, and this one really made me belly laugh. You love bedtime story, right?
We love the bedtime stories. Like, I don't know, it's because like we have Buddy in like a very strict sort of bedtime routine. So sort of Buddy knows that 6 o'clock, toys are away. 20 past 6 when the clangers are on, it's time to get his pajamas on, and then it's chill time. So in the night garden, he will sit there and watch, or we'll have like a little like mess around where him and Kane will be like kicking the football or whatever, which I hate. Kind of throw like I don't like balls being kicked about in the house, like especially because Kane and Buddy get a bit crazy and things get broken. Like possibly our old TV, maybe that might have been how that got broken. So I have like literally so many things. I'm just like, that's going to get broken in a second. Our wall lights gets flipped upside down when the ball hits, and I'm just like, I cannot be doing with this. But yeah, so Buddy, like, he knows that he has a very strict routine, like when it comes to bedtime. So when it comes to in the night garden saying it's time to go Wiggle Piggle and stuff, he'll wave bye to Wiggle Piggle, and then it'll be like Hushabye Lullaby or the bedtime story. And he'll just sit there and watch, and then he knows as soon as that's off and the bedtime song comes on, which he will wave to every single person and say bye to them, and then he'll take himself off to bed. So like we have the routine to a T, but obviously like when we can see families again, like that will sort of change again because we'll sometimes be at like Kane's parents or my mum's house, like for tea or whatever. So that's when it'll be different. But Buddy sort of knows that he watches the bedtime story, he watches the bedtime song, and then that's bedtime, and that is it. And yeah, so whoever said that, you are wrong. I am all for the bedtime story.
And it's funny because I get really excited because we announced them on Twitter, and I'm like, and I follow them obviously, and then I'm like, oh! Like I remember me and you were talking about the fact it was OT last week, and Sky loves OT Boogie BBs, and it was like she was like OT gets OT. I was like, I know, it's exciting.
But he was literally stood there in front of the TV like this. Yeah, and when it was Tom Hardy, Reggae Jean from Bridgerton. When I found out that he was on Mother's Day, I was like, oh yes, like let's get there. Like I was like, I wonder if there'll be like a spoon or anything involved there. And I literally said to Ken, I was like, right, you can sort Buddy out, you can do last snappy checks. I was like, I'm sitting here, this is mummy's time for that one. And yeah, love it.
And then the last one, which in my opinion is the most controversial one so far, is somebody said, I don't get the hype around Hey Dougie.
They need to get out.
That person just
I think Hey Dougie.
Hey Dougie is the best.
I feel like it is. I literally feel like it is probably one of the best shows for children and adults, because like this, I feel like whoever invents Hey Dougie in like their episodes, I feel like they're so clever to sort of get the adults involved. Like when Tag's mum's like hitting on Dougie and stuff like that, like the kids won't get that, but we get that. Like, she's like, oh, I want a bit of Dougie here. Do you know what I mean? So like it's fun, but I find it so funny, and like the Stick song, and obviously they've got like the new episodes coming and the new songs and everything. This isn't an ad, by the way, just like throwing that out there, because like we're like proper like going like how much we love Dougie.
I mean, I have taken sponsorships or ad deals on Instagram, but if Dougie ever wanted to hit me up, that would be the one I'd say yes to. I'm practically a Hey Dougie stan account anyway. People like send me stuff. They're like, "Have you seen this?" And I'm like, "No."
I think I did that. I think I saw on Facebook like Hey Dougie, like they'd released like a beanbag cushion of like a Hey Dougie one, and I was on the screenshot and I was like, oh my god, Sky needs this. But like, yeah, this is a Hey Dougie house. Like, never ever diss Hey Dougie
here too.
Yeah, I'm all for that. I think it's like one of the best TV shows.
I reckon I could do Mastermind on Hey Dougie, you know. I reckon I could do Mastermind on Hey Dougie.
Yeah.
I think it could be my specialist subject.
Yeah, I reckon you could too, to be honest. Like, you are like the Hey Dougie oracle, I feel like. The oracle. Maybe you should have that in your bio. Hey Dougie oracle. But yeah.
I know. And it's so funny because me and John made a pact the other day that even when Sky grows out of Hey Dougie, we'll still watch the new episodes because we feel like we can't not know what happens.
Yeah, you've got to. I feel like it's sort of, it's not just for like children like Buddy and Sky's age. Like I know like quite a few mums who have got like kids that are a little bit older, like 5 and stuff like that will still sit there and happily watch Hey Dougie because they find it hilarious. I mean, I will happily sit there and watch Hey Dougie. Like we had it on. We watched seasons 1 through to 3, I think it was, the other day. Just had them on all day, and I was like, "Oh my god, like this is so funny!" Like I was probably belly laughing. It's like when the narrator's like, "Oh, stop it, Dougie," and stuff like that. It just probably gets me.
So good. But that's the last. Yeah. That is the last unpopular opinion we're going to talk about. Thank you so much for coming on. It's been so much fun. I feel like it's been like free therapy again. I feel like quite cathartic.
Same here. I feel a lot lighter now. I feel like I can go back into the house and be like dead jolly with Kane.
Exactly. Well, thank you so much for being on, and all of Katie's social media bits and everything are going to be in the show notes. If you don't follow her, of course, if you don't, I don't know what you're doing, but and I'm excited for Baby Holden number 2 to come along, and for them to be inducted into the Dougie fan club.
Yeah, he's going to be a stan with Sky and Buddy, I think.
But I'm going to leave you now because it's weird recording in the day. It's like midday, so I'm going to say go have a nice lunch and have a really great afternoon with your boy. And thank you so much for being on.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's like currently like pissing it down here. So now I've only got my slippers and like the fluffy slider slippers. So now I've got to peg it across the garden in slippers with a big thick blanket. So I might have to send you a picture of me of what I look like because I literally look like a right state right now. So I'm gonna look like a drowned rat when I get in there. But thank you for having me on. It's been
the promo shot for the episode.
It should be like.
Right, and we will speak to you in the next episode, guys. Thank you for listening. Bye.
Thanks.